Good morning. It's Paris. This is new, I know. Not super new from the last time, but I have kind of a big announcement to make today. I'm a little bit nervous. Actually, you know what? It feels like this would be more appropriately done. Hold on. There we go. For those of you that are waiting and wondering, this whole video is going to be kind of a little bit of an explainer, but the book, in case you already know what I'm talking about today, is available. And there's a link below. And if you need to pause the video and rush off and be one of the first people to grab one, now's the time. That's totally appropriate. Go ahead. I'll wait. Forgot to put on a watch or a belt. Welcome back. I hope some of you actually did that. Otherwise, that was just a silly gimmick. Anyways, yeah, the book is ready. Now, for those of you wondering what book you're talking about, I kickstarted a book a few months ago. Kickstarted a book about how I got to Paris. How did I end up here? Why am I here? Those are questions I get a lot. And I'm not going to go so far as to say that people were clamoring for this book, because that would be, I think, a little bit of a stretch. But I was asked by a number of people, it was suggested over time, that I should write a book. Now, whether that was out of hand and people actually meant it or not, here, Gilly's doing fine, by the way, for those of you that are concerned. Whether or not that was actually, just offhand or people really meant it, I eventually went ahead and did it. I will tell you that this is probably one of the most difficult books I've ever written. If you've been following along for a while, you know that I write science fiction and fantasy already, and I've managed to put out about 8 books so far in that department. And writing a book is always a lot of work. Editing it, putting it together, getting it finished and out the door, it's a lot of work. And it's something that I genuinely enjoy doing. But doing that on a book about myself, a little bit of a stretch, definitely a challenge. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about why that is, as well as a little bit about what's in the book, as well as where things go from here. Because as you may have noticed, I did say that we kickstarted this book, which normally means that the Kickstarter backers would get everything first before I move on to handing it out to you guys. But the world has changed dramatically in the last couple of months, and all of my plans basically went out the window, so I'm improvising. Let's go downstairs and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. I don't think I need the sunglasses in here. So what's in the book? I mean, really, it's the answer to questions I get all the time. How did you end up in Paris? Why are you there? How did you get this apartment? What is this thing, this ship in Africa that you lived on for some time? You flew around the country for I don't know how we got to the hang loose symbol there. Sorry, my counting abilities are compromised apparently. But lots of things that people ask all the time. Paris is a central figure, a central character in the story, and takes up a number of different chunks of the story. But really it starts back in the recession. And I think that's part of the reason why I feel like it's important for me to make sure to get this book out now and just make it available to everybody. It's nice to have it done ahead of schedule. And we can talk a little bit more at the end of the video about what comes next and what it looks like to get a paperback. All of that stuff. But back when the recession hit in 2008, 2009, I was in a pretty vulnerable spot where I'd just gotten out of college. I taught English in Nice for a year, and then I went back, and I really didn't know what I was doing or where I was going, or, I knew what I wanted from life, but I didn't really know how to get there, and then everything just kind of started falling apart globally, not just for me, but I got swept up in that and wound up on kind of a little bit of an adventure, both in just trying to figure out how to survive, how to make ends meet, but also that's what ended up pushing me on to go join Mercy Ships, and I wound up in West Africa. A lot of those experiences, I feel like, one of the benefits to going back and writing it over the last year and a half, but now going through editing it, formatting it, kind of really marinating in it, it's comforting to see both how much I've grown, but also how much I've been able to go through. And I think that's part of the reason why, as we enter into this period of uncertainty right now, I don't feel as worried about it, not because it's not crazy and I'm not stressed out. And, I am definitely, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But I think it gave me a sense of perspective that I've never been through anything like this. This is obviously unprecedented, but it was good to look back and see what I had been through and how much I grew through it. And even though I would never want to do it again, that it kind of set me up to be who I am and where I am today. You're going to have to forgive me. I got to loosen the tie. It's actually pretty warm in here. It's like in the 70s right now, which is nice. But when you're stuck inside and there's no breeze, a little bit toasty. And part of the book also is these drawings that I was working on for a while. I was actually doing a lot of these to just kind of, process what I'd been going through and think about it. This is one of my favorites, The Fortress of the Damned. This is allegorical for the place that makes you mad, aka the prefecture. Bureaucracy, my favorite. I was captured by this metaphor or allegory of the Sea of the Unknown. And it's something that's on my wall over here, which you've seen before. This is how I redid my goal map. Or originally it was just, a goal board, kind of a dream vision board type thing. But then I wanted to give it a little bit of a sense of direction. And this analogy of the sea of the unknown is basically the idea that where I was on the shores of the known was a life that I could have followed. I could have gone down the routes that were laid out before me through education and jobs and everything else that, seemed a little bit more clear cut. But what I felt called to was something that was way out over a horizon that I couldn't even really fully fathom. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to write books. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to tell stories for a living. And that's not something that you easily get paid for right out of the gate. I don't know if you were aware of that, but nobody pays you for your stories right out the gate. So I, think about it in terms of trying to put together a raft or a ship or whatever and head out this way over the ocean. But knowing that there's no map, there's no set way to get there. There's a lot of people that have gone before me. There are a lot of people that have made it to different destinations that look similar to where I want to go. Or maybe they've made it to destinations that are very similar to where I want to go. But you can never really follow directly in their footsteps because where they came from, the skill sets they have, their personality, everything is different. And so you have to go out and you have to make your own way. And so this is a metaphor that stuck with me for a long time. And that's why, I like to draw as well. I really enjoy making cartoons and illustrations and sketching. It's a way that I like to relax a little bit. I like to, I de-stress that way. And it's a way to get my thoughts out and on, a page. And so this seemed like a really appropriate way to go about it. And so it's kind of a little bit of a weird mix too, because you'll see some of those cartoons scattered throughout the book as well. But I thought it was important to include it just because it's kind of an insight into my mind and also a way of keeping things light at times when maybe it's a little bit rougher, but also just having kind of fun with it. And I'm going to be sending those to the Kickstarter backers who asked for them, who paid for them. And so that was a lot of fun as well. Thank you so much to my Kickstarter backers who made this possible, who came together and demonstrated that there was actually a desire for this book in the first place, and for just the momentum and the excitement that came with that. Originally, my plan, I was hoping that we could deliver it early, anyways, because I knew that if I was on top of things, I'd be able to pull it out pretty quickly. But unfortunately, a lot of our plans changed. Originally, we had a printer lined up in China that obviously wasn't going to work for a number of reasons, and I'm happy to say that we found one in the States that I'm actually way happier with. But that happened as things were developing, in January from a distance. And then as we jumped onto the new printer, the plan was that I would actually fly over to Minneapolis, sign books there, because there are people that actually paid for their books to be signed. And I was going to fly over, sign those books, send them out, and then we were going to do a little bit of a book tour. All of that has completely fallen apart for obvious reasons. Thankfully, getting the books printed should still be on time, and I'm going to submit that order next month. However, it's obviously impossible for me to fly back to the States to sign them, and doing a book tour is out of the question at the moment. Those are things that I want to do. I want to fulfill those promises, and I hope that we can do them next year. But as it stands, I have no expectations and very low hopes of being able to do that, in at least this part of 2020, if not possibly all of 2020. The other thing about it is that I wanted to make sure that I could get it out there. This book is basically written, and the way that I tried to think about it wasn't so much a story just about plot points in my life and it follows a track through my life for sure. But I was trying to take that sense of hopelessness and borderline despair that I felt for a long time and wrap my brain around how I got out of that. And you're a part of that, watching this video. My patrons are a big part of that. Friends and family are a big part of that. Time is a really big part of that. And there are a number of elements to it. I basically wanted to write a book for anybody that was where I was. And you'll see it in the book if you read it, but I hit some really dark patches where I really didn't think, I was working very hard, publishing books, traveling around trying to promote them, making videos, doing all this stuff. How long has my tie been like that? Nobody told me. I got to some places where I really didn't think there was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel at all. I actually felt like I was in a ditch crawling, and for all I knew I was just crawling along the ditch, and I was never actually going to make my way out. I was trying to capture that in hopes that I could give hope to anybody that felt the same way, whether they have really big dreams of doing anything creative or in medicine or teaching or whatever it is that you want to do with your life, and you feel like it's just out of reach, or whatever it is that is exactly what you want from life seems out of your control and out of your ability to grasp. Ultimately, I want to encourage you to keep going. I want to encourage you to soldier on. And I can't promise anything. I can't promise that it'll get better. I can't promise that you'll ever get to where you're going. I have no idea if I'm going to get to where I'm going. I'm still on my journey. But I wanted to encourage anyone out there who might be struggling. I want to say it's going to be okay, And It's easier to say and to feel from this side of things, but it wasn't that long ago that I really didn't think it was going to be okay. And so that's why I wrote the book. It was in hopes that maybe it could encourage even just a few people. Because if a number of you buy it and enjoy it, there's something entertaining in it, there's something you see, it's another step of vulnerability on my part. You're definitely going to get to know me even better by reading it. That's great, and I hope that that happens. I really hope that people enjoy it for what it is at face value. I hope a number of people enjoy it. But even if it can reach just a few people in those deep, dark places and give them just the slightest sliver of hope, I don't know that I would have necessarily been able to receive it then, but there were people in my life and there were creators out in the world and on YouTube, writers who just by living their lives and by sharing them honestly and sharing their struggles honestly encouraged me. And so it's my hope that I can do the same thing for you. If you need that. If you don't need that, then hopefully you enjoy some cartoon pirates and stories about me, failing at falling in love multiple times. And I even ended up in the ER. I ended up in the emergency room in one of those stories. How's that for a hook? So that's more or less it. Here's the way that things are working logistically. Ebooks available now at that link below. If you go below, you buy an ebook right now from my website, you'll get a PDF, instantaneously. Should be instant. If you want the paperback, it's a pre-order right now. We're only doing one print run. We're going to do one big giant print run where we order a set number of books and then they ship them out to everybody, and that's it. So there's a month where you can get that right now until, the first week of May, somewhere in there. If things are going bananas, we'll reconsider what's going on, but I figure that's probably a good amount of time. So if you want to pre-order the book right now, it'll take your payment, it'll get your address and shipping information, just going from the United States, so the shipping is calculated based on shipping out of the United States. But since I'm here, everything's in euros. Sorry, it gets a little bit confusing. So if you want to jump in there and grab a paperback, it'll hopefully be shipping by like the middle to late part of May, and you should be getting it in June if everything goes smoothly, which is, everything's been going okay so far, so hopefully that continues. But because I know that there are a lot of people out there that are going through a really hard time right now, I've already heard stories of people losing their jobs, having their hours cut, losing clients. There's a lot of, obviously things are really challenging right now, and you just look at the numbers coming out of the US for unemployment, and it's insane. So because of that, if you're one of those people who's struggling right now, who's having a hard time, that would like to read this story, but it's a stress point, like you would love to grab a copy of the ebook, but that purchase stresses you out, whether you've lost your job or things are just tight, or you're just kind of freaking out and maybe a little bit anxious, I still want you to be able to read the book. You're actually kind of like the exact person that I really want to make sure gets to read the book, that I hope it helps to some degree or another. So I put a code below that's going to last for the next month as well, so you can download the ebook for free. It's purely honor system. Obviously, if you can afford to grab a copy of the book, it's not something that's stressing you out at all. I would love it if you please still bought a copy of the book, because, that'd be great on my end. But for those of you that are thinking about it and want it, but are hesitating or questioning because you're on hard times, you've lost your job, you're stressing out over finances, grab that code, use it. It'll give you 100% off the ebook, and I want you to just have it and read it. I've also made the code available already to a couple people who said, yeah, but I got to give you something. You don't have to give me anything. Like, just the fact that you have it and that you're reading it and hopefully get something from it is like all I can really ask for. If you really have to do something, just give it a review. Just give it an honest review on Amazon or Goodreads when it comes out on those platforms in a couple weeks, and let the world know what you think about it. Hopefully you don't hate it. But I mean, if you hate it, let someone know exactly why you hated it so that they know not to buy it if they would hate it for the same reason. But really, please, in this moment, that's not the first concern. The first concern, I think, for all of us right now should be that we're all getting through this together and that we're watching out for each other as much as we can. So just grab a copy of the book and don't worry about it. Also, if you're, I want to do the same thing. If you're a healthcare worker and you're on the front lines and you just need a way to de-stress and you want to read about a hospital ship in West Africa for a chapter or two, it's there for you too. Like, take care of yourself first and foremost. And if you need a little distraction, hopefully a little bit of encouragement, I hope it provides that to some degree. For the rest of you, if you want to grab a copy down below, again, there's the ebook, there's the paperback, or you can get the bundle. So you can get the paperback. It'll show up in June or whenever we manage to get them shipped out, but then you can start reading right away with an ebook, and it only costs, I think, another €3 on top of that to get both. So that's an option as well. They're all linked from my website. They'll take you straight to Sendowl, which is the service I'm using to take payment and distribute them digitally. That's what I've been using for my guide for the last couple of years. It seems to work pretty smoothly. Just make sure you save it to your computer. If you can't open it from that link, you got to save it from that link. Please save it from that link. Hold on. please save it from that link. Please don't. I mean, you can if it doesn't work, email me and I can reset it. But ideally, please save it. Anyway, that's basically it. I'm really excited to release the book. I'm a little bit nervous because again, it's some stories that I've never told, and it's the first time I've ever had to change the name of someone. There's a woman that I dated for a while in the book whose name I changed. I've never had to do that before. I told her about it. She actually has a copy of the book, but it's weird, isn't it? Isn't that weird? So there's a lot going on in the book, things I don't normally talk about, and it's just another level of vulnerability, and it's really written for you. If you watch my videos, if you follow along at all, then hopefully it's something that gives you a little bit of insight into me and a little bit of entertainment, and if we're lucky, a little bit of encouragement in these times as well. And that's basically it. If you haven't already, please go down to the link below. Grab a copy, ebook or paperback, whatever floats your boat. Again, this is going to be possibly the only time we do paperbacks. We might do them again in the future when we figure out what else is going on. But we're going to do one big print run now. So jump on that. Would be great to have you as a part of that. And then when you get it, if you have it on your phone or your Kindle or wherever it is that you're reading it, just take a photo, a screenshot, post it on Instagram or Twitter, tag me in it. I'm going to be reposting the crap out of those. And if I talk about it a lot over the next couple of weeks, please forgive me. But also, if you don't mind retweeting, reposting, sharing it like crazy and helping me get it out there, I would really love to see it move a little bit here in the next month. It'd be great. I think that's it. I think that's the whole story. I meant to bring Gilly down with me, but I left her up in the sunlight, so I think she's probably happier up there without me. And yeah, I hope you're doing really well. I'm going to try and I think this week for my vlog, I might actually just do a sit-down vlog similar to this on Monday. I've been doing 2-minute Tuesdays. If you want to see 2-minute French slang Tuesdays, if you want to see a little bit of how to say like, I can't be bothered when you're lounging around the house, things like that. And otherwise, I'll see you bright and early on Monday morning for whatever the heck ends up popping out. Hope you're well. I think I looked like I was really concerned right there, which I kind of am, but I was trying to. I hope you're well. I hope you're well. Please be good, and I will see you on Monday. Take care.